America needs to modernize its infrastructure, whether it's waterways and ports or airports or roads and bridges or, our electric grid, our water grid, our internet. We've got a lot of work to do in this country.
The best way to pay for it is how, Jeff? More and more people are talking about $2 gas is just right for something. If you could make sure it was earmarked for that and do something, because it would be obviously regressive, but if you could do it there, is that a good idea?
Well, I think that we need to look at a variety of things. There needs to be an entire capital stack. It's like financing a business. We need probably the gas tax to go up. We need more private capital. There's a lot of capital that wants to invest in infrastructure, and if we could get it involved in some way through public-private partnerships, maybe we need to increase volume caps on private activity bonds, maybe expand the types of activities beyond the typical municipal bond activities. A lot of different ways that could be used here. Maybe there's some foreign capital that could be brought in. What we do know is there's a big need. We do know there's a lot of capital looking for places to invest. And we also know that there's a huge transportation revolution going on, the third one in our history, and we need to modernize all types of infrastructure so we can go forward. And by the way, if we do it the right way, we can help create jobs, we can increase GDP, and it's good for everybody. So I wouldn't think just the gas tax. I would look at a variety of things. And of course, we need to streamline and make a lot more efficient the permitting process in a lot of these infrastructure projects. And that's something that I think the president wants to do, and it's hard to argue against it. So, a lot of different things here.
Jeff, Larry Bossidy, you've been around this space for a long time, and there's no question about the need. There is a question in my mind how you're going to raise the money. You talk about state and city partnerships. It's going to be hard to impose new taxes in these jurisdictions who already in many cases are upside down financially. So is it really practical to think you're going to be able to, by virtue of raising taxes one way or another, raise sufficient capital to undertake these kinds of projects?
Well, I do think that there's a shortage of taxpayer capital, and I acknowledge that taxes, look, we don't need to raise taxes all that much. As I said, there's a lot of private capital, and if we can figure out a way to have a revenue stream to compensate private capital that wants to support infrastructure, they do it in other parts of the world, and we could do some of that here. Now, granted, existing roads, it's very hard to toll those or to get a revenue stream off them, but some of the other infrastructure needs, whether it's cyber, we need a safe, secure cyber. We need workforce housing. Think of all of these things that can improve productivity, and if we want to get GDP up, we do have to increase productivity. The real estate industry that I represent, we know the sort of cycle between healthy real estate markets, healthy, good infrastructure, and increased productivity, and it goes round and round. And we're certainly, as an industry, looking forward to doing our part to make our infrastructure better and to improve the country. So you're right. Look, taxpayers are burdened already, but let's think of a variety of ways to cobble together the capital stack that needs to be done. And permitting, I'm telling you, is a key part of lowering the costs, lowering the time frame, and reducing the amount of money that's needed for these projects.
Jeff, the permitting argument makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, we've had everybody from all sides of the table who have gotten behind this. The idea of overhauling the Federal Aviation Authority's system that monitors air traffic control, that makes a whole lot of sense. Then you start injecting some ideas like privatizing that, and I think you may lose some support from one side of the aisle when that happens. What do you think about that? Is it more important to do something like privatize, or more important just to get support from both sides of the aisle and move ahead with something that gets passed?
Well, the chicken or the egg, right? Permitting really doesn't have much to do with that. Look.
No, I'm just talking about the privatizing of the air traffic control.
Oh. Well, we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an interesting debate. Clearly, the goal is the right thing, more efficiency in our air traffic.
I don't think anybody's going to argue with that.
You know, but, and we'll see about what privatizing really means in this area, but it's a healthy conversation to have, and it's about time we had it in an open way on air traffic, on airports, on roads, on bridges, on everything. And frequently we end up hearing in Washington all the reasons that things can't be done. And, you know, I'm enthused about all of this because there's a lot more conversation about how to get things done and not just the problems in it. So, you know, we'll see on the air traffic situation, but it can bleed into everything else, and there should be more responsibility on state and local governments. Who better knows the infrastructure needs of their localities than the state and local government? So let's put more responsibility there, and let's look at all the options. That's our message.
Jeff, thank you for being with us this morning.